Hi everyone, and welcome to the SwiftCase Productivity Podcast. My name is Adam Sykes, founder of SwiftCase, the professional productivity platform, and today I've got with me
Phil Woodby, developer here at SwiftCase.
Okay, great. So today I wanted to talk about something. I suppose it's got a different prongs to it. Really, it's why are people so obsessed? I suppose is the big thing about working in either big cities or certainly capital cities. So London was the one we were sort of talking about because you've lived in London in the past, and I like London and visit it fairly frequently, but I've never fancied living there. I think a couple of days at a time is okay, but full time would be a difficult sell. And I just wonder why people spend so much. I mean, there's one thing I was just reading just then that like the average property price in one area of London is Highgate is like 1.5 million. I mean, I think anywhere else in the country is in the hundreds of thousands. The low hundreds of thousands in most places. Why do people put themselves through that pressure to live in these sorts of areas? And also another thing I want to explore sort of related to this is what's the environmental impact of everyone being obsessed with commuting to a central location rather than us working sort of more distributed fashion? And does this cause issues as well?
I think there was I remember reading, I don't know who it was, that intercity design, the idea was having discrete areas for different functions. So you've got your business district and you've got your residential district, and it was, I don't know why they thought that was a good idea, because obviously in retrospect all you do is have a logjam at certain times of day when everyone's trying to go from one district. Why not have them all mixed up?
Exactly,
residential and office, so like people with district just move into the area where they're working and go to work. The thing about having the discrete areas, that compartmentalisation, that is appealing to people, I think, is that they can go, well, where's all the way over there? So in my time, it's not something that's on my shoulder. So there's that kind of appeal.
But with technology, that's always gone, isn't it? It invades you wherever you are.
But from an economic point of view as well, if everyone has to travel to work, then everyone needs cars. So it becomes a lot of
public transport. Mass transport, public transport.
But if you design your cities around roads, like they have in America, then you're literally, I can see them meeting them, sitting there going, that's brilliant, because then, people who work in our factories making cars will have to buy the cars as well. And then it'll feel like this endless self-propagating cycle of productivity.
It just reminds me of just one thing you just brought up. It reminds me of a funny thing. I don't know if you ever read Bill Bryson books.
Years ago.
There's one where he goes back to America, having lived in the UK for a while. And he decides that he wants to visit a shop. I think there's a shop he can see from his hotel. And he literally goes out of his hotel and the shop's only across the road. And it's built, the whole place is built so much for cars. He physically can't get from his hotel to the shop that he can see without driving, and he ends up having to go through like a storm drain, through a hedge, which people ends up all bedraggled, sort of appearance getting to the shop, and they're like, what's happened to you? He goes, I just walked from over there. It's like, you walked, why didn't you drive? He's like, I can see the shop, it's across the road. But it was built, the infrastructure was so geared for cars and transport via vehicles, it just wasn't even possible to cross the road in this place. And I think that's an extreme example, but you do get situations like we live in an area where you have to cross a river, don't you? And you can get a ferry, but that's very infrequent. You can get the train, but the trains are not, they're more frequent than the ferry, but not very frequent. But most people probably commute via car through the two tunnels that there are, or over the bridge if you're a bit further down.
Wasn't the tunnel supposed to be free after a certain amount of time after the
I mean, well, two reasons on that though is they didn't pay off what they were supposed to be paying off with the money, but also people don't want it to be free because then that makes cars cheaper than the public transport. And in fact, I think at the moment, if you have a full car, it is cheaper than public transport. Significantly so. Because I think, I don't know, two return tickets from where I live to Liverpool city centre is like something like £9. Something like £9 to go through the tunnel with a fast tag, which is kind of the thing that lets you just do it, like top it up, pay as you go, sort of top up and then take off the credits. It's like £1 each way. And petrol. So you kind of like, I know you've got to add on parking, but for short trips, you might be paying for, if you have 5 adults going on the train, you might be paying like 20, 25 quid. You can easily do that at parking, tunnel, petrol, and go in the car. So we've not beaten it on a
I think it's
transport point of view.
Public, but for going to work, which is the real issue, isn't it? It's like, why are we people going to London, and in many situations actually living very, very far outside London so they can afford accommodation and then get what is reasonably priced travel in terms of the tube into work. Now, the reasoning behind that, for me, it's probably my particular reason. I was like you, when I first went to London, it was to visit in a non-sort of like touristy way. It was to visit a friend who lived there. And every time I went, I was like, it's dehumanising. No one looks in the face. It's like hustle and bustle. It's quite alienating. I don't think I'd want to live here. But in the end, the kind of life that he had there, that I kind of dipped into on the weekends when I went down to visit, was just so attractive. Because it was like the people that he met, the kind of the buildings and the social engagements that you go to, the art, just the design, everything about the place was incredible, and it just ended up pulling me in. And what I ended up finding when I lived there was that it wasn't alienating, because the impression I got of alienation there was from the touristy parts. When you went and lived in the kind of outer parts of London, in the zone 3s, you actually found quite tightly knit, cosmopolitan, multicultural communities that were like smaller villages. That on public transport, I'd interact with lots of people. In very casual ways. It got to the point where being the difference between everyone was actually really nice, because it meant you were kind of, nobody identified you or distinguished you from their social group by something tiny, like what happens in Liverpool. So for instance, people my age, as a teenager growing up, if you didn't wear the right kind of shoes, you were easily ostracised. You were classed in that way. When someone is so diverse, they really can't tell what your work signify. It ends up becoming a great leveller, because the person who's sitting next to them might be from a completely different walk of life, but they feel liberated being in London, because it's like a place of dreams for them. And it was for me. So what you have is a collection of people who all feel like they're in a very good circumstance, and there's good opportunities for them, no matter where they're from. And so it meant that like the sort of like attitude I found was that people were in a really good place. And no matter who I met, I always found someone with something interesting to do, or some interesting side project, positivity about their life, because there were so many opportunities. Or they come there looking for an opportunity and they were positive. So that was invisible from a touristic point of view.
I wouldn't say that that's not my perception of London anyway. I know that it does have that bad name that like people.
And that was my impression.
So the thing that was probably my impression, like say a few years ago, once you've been a few times, and certainly I've been for like work purposes, and met people who live there, saying like you see the benefits of living there. I was more thinking just from a purely financial point of view, the quality of life. Like I had a friend who was a teacher there. He was graduated, he was working on his PhD, and he had a job in a college. He was living like a student, sleeping on a mattress on the floor. But he had a professional job. Whereas if he was working up here, he'd be like able to maybe saving for a deposit, because it's still not cheap, but he would in a couple of years be able to save enough for a deposit and probably be looking at a house, or certainly a few years, some form of being able to afford his own house, to only being able to rent the space where he couldn't even afford furniture yet, and he had a professional job. And it's that which I can't get. Why do people put themselves through that to live in a city?
I think it's like, why go backpacking around South America when you could go to, for the same price of like the ticket to the apartment, you can go to like Tenerife and be on a resort and be pampered. So the difference is that the attraction to London, I think, is the sense of opportunity and adventure and the unknown. And I think people tolerate a lot more hardship for the promise of something interesting.